It is Monday, September 30th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by Jet Home Loans. And now, while she claims to be excited to be hosting, no one has really seen or heard from JP in a while. Kainani Stevens.
I love to host an extra show. JP is out. He's in South Florida for Monday Night Football, so you guys are stuck with me. Kainani Stevens here, sitting in for Happy Hour today, presented by Jet Home Loans. Another frustrating loss this week. The Jaguars lose it late to the Texans. They're still searching for their first win of the season. Now lots of questions about play calling at this point coming up again. We're going to keep it real a little bit later on in some of your fan questions. There were a lot of them. I tried to get the best ones out there, and we're going to ask Tony and Pete about that coming up. But first, we're going to hear from head coach Doug Peterson after the game. I mentioned play calling brought up once again. Here's what Doug Peterson had to say.
Is there any chance you take the headset over just to change this thing up?
For what? I thought he called a great game. We as coaches, we can't go out there and make the plays, right? It's a two-way street. So, you know, you guys can sit here and point the finger all you want, and that's fine. Point it right at me. I can take it, okay? I can take it. So, whatever you want to ask me, say, whatever, write, go ahead.
You did tell us at your introductory news conference a couple of years ago, if it's not working, if it's not in rhythm, whether it's your plays or not, that you hand off the play calling. I mean, is it just one of those, maybe it's just a voice, a confidence? You guys were cooking when you were doing it. It looked like in 22.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll take it into consideration.
Tense situation there. Let's get things going. We've got the Hall of Famer in here, Tony Boselli, with me today, and of course CBS Sports senior writer Pete Prisco. You guys haven't been in for a couple weeks. We didn't have a show last week after Monday Night Football, so I know you all have a lot to say. So let me cede the floor to you. I want to hear your thoughts.
Kai. Well, I have a lot to say. Pete, I know you have a lot to say as we were talking back and forth. I mean, I think you got to start with just the press conference. We'll start there because it leads to a bunch of other things. I mean, number one, you're 0-4. And I would say this. I think this is the longest start to a season that I can ever remember as a Jaguar. Now, maybe when I was playing, but let's say post-playing career. Because, listen, we've been through some bad seasons here. Bad football. But there was expectations this year. Set by the owner first and foremost. You know, everyone in the building, you know, it's one of the better teams we've had. So on and so forth. We can talk about that maybe if we want to. But bottom line, there was expectations. And my expectations were this would be a team that come December would be fighting for the division championship against the Houston Texans. And at 0-4, I think the high total is, 20 points by the offense? Defense struggles to get off the field, get pressure. They're not good on third down. Offensively, that's not good on third down. And I think yesterday what you saw from Doug Peterson was the accumulation of frustration. And I don't think he handled it great. I think the last thing you want to do is to, even if it's just perception, to make the perception to be that you're blaming the players. And if you go on X and listen to all the fans and all the talking points, national media as well, it was Doug blaming the players. Mm-hmm. That it's not press, it's not him. It's the players. And I know Doug didn't – that's not what he was trying to communicate. He was trying to say, listen, it's a two-way street. Both sides have to do their job, and we got to execute. And it's such a hot topic around here. You know, who's calling plays. He
did play the players, Tony.
No, he did. I'm saying I don't think that's what I don't think that was his intention. Absolutely, Pete. That's what came out. I'm not disagreeing. I don't think he handled it right. I think you saw a frustrated, emotional head coach. I don't think the questions were unfair by the media. I mean, my goodness, Doug should be used to it. He came from Philly. I mean, the Northeast media is brutal, much more brutal than anything down here. But the thing that drives me crazy, this whole play calling, can we just settle it now? Press Taylor's been calling plays since 2022.
He has, and I think he kind of got to it when he reacted.
Yeah, he's been calling it from the beginning. And so
why did he just say that then?
I don't know, Pete. I agree with you. I don't think it was handled properly, and that's why I kind of chuckled when Brent was asking the questions that it was cooking when you were calling play. I'm like, that's revisionist history. When they went on the run, press was calling plays. When they were 8-3 last year, Press was calling plays. And so, like, this whole thing, whether it's Press, Doug, or like, can we just throw that aside? The bottom line is you can have issues with the play calling. And I have issues with some of the strategy and some of the things we do. I mean, Pete does as well. I mean, it's easy for us to do it, too, after the fact, looking back saying, well, I'd have done this, I'd have done that, whatever. That's what we do in the NFL. But at the end of the day, they're not playing good football. They're not playing good football. They're not playing winning football on defense. I don't care. Everyone says, well, they've only given up so many points, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. Get off the field. Again, we got crushed in the time of possession. First half, they were on the field the entire first half. Once again, 0 created turnovers by the defense. We were gifted 7 points by the young punt returner. I mean, the bottom line is it's not good enough. The players aren't playing well enough. The coaches aren't coaching well enough. The GM isn't doing a good enough job. I mean, I'm a big believer. You win together and you lose together. And now, if I'm going to default to point the finger at one group more than any other, I always start with the players. I think this is a players' league. It's on us as players. We get paid a lot of money. It's about us. We play the game. When we win, we should get the credit, most of it. And when we lose, we should get most of the blame. Guys have to make plays. That game yesterday, we should have won. We said, we should have won Miami. We should have won Cleveland. We can't even talk about Buffalo. That was ugly. But here's the problem. We didn't. So guess what you are? You're an 0-4 team. Because if you, yes, plays are out there to be made, but you got to make them, and we're not doing it right now. And the only way to change is you better get back to the practice field and better change the mentality and change what you're doing and get better, because right now you're not a very good football team.
All right. Let me first start by what Doug said yesterday. He's created this entire problem for himself by never saying who the play caller was.
Well, I'm going to interrupt you. It started last year. Whoever leaked this last year, I don't even know why it became a story ever.
Well,
and they could have nipped it in the bud. They could have nipped it in the bud right away.
Right, he could have put it to bed before this season. I agree. Hey, Press is going to call me. Instead, he's all coy about it, and it comes off as sophomoric. Let's put it that way by doing it the way they're doing it. So then he's asked a question after the game, rightfully so, by the way, and he blames the players.
That was bad.
And he blamed the players. As any leader and any coach in any business, Tony, you work in business.
Can't do that.
You guys have bosses, you can't go in and blame the employees, and you just can't. You got to take accountability. It's all of us. I'm responsible. We're responsible. Instead, he said, we're doing our job. They're not doing theirs. It's basically what he said. And I asked if the locker room was open today, because if I was on that beat today, I'd be in there asking every damn player if he felt he was responsible and he's to blame, like his coach just blamed him, because that's what he did. So bad look there, bad look. But let's get back to the football. The roster isn't very good right now. Let's be real. You want to point the blame. Tony, you said you want to blame the players. You can blame the players all you want. It's not a great roster. So start at the top. The drafts haven't been great. When you look at it from top to bottom, where are the top 15 players in the league in each position? Do you have any? You have maybe one or two. It's just not a good roster. And so it starts with the general manager. It starts with the personnel department. Then you want to trickle it down. I have a ton of things to get in with the offense. And then you go to the players. I'm going to sit here and say it right now. I've been a big defender of Trevor Lawrence. Something's not right there. It's just not right. He has to hit those open shots. He has to hit them. Those are easy throws. He made the right read. He made the right decision. You have to hit those.
Pete, but let me before you go any further, I want to make sure we're on the same page. When I say blame the players, it's not even blame. It's the players' responsibility. I'm not going to disagree with you, because we could go through and say how many top 5 players at their position do we have on this team, how many top 10, how many top 15, so on and so forth. We could do that. And it probably is not going to be a lot of fun to do. However, when I say it's the players' responsibility, because you're not changing the roster. This is not like fantasy football or hey, let's go make 50 trades and rebuild our roster. The team is what it is. There's nowhere to go get new guys. Maybe a trade here or there. Maybe. How often does that really happen in the NFL? This isn't Major League Baseball or the NBA where you can do some trade in the middle of the season and change it for it. It doesn't work that way. And so, Pete, my point was, we can talk about the structure and the building of this roster, and I know, Pete, you and I have strong opinions about that, but I'm speaking here and now. You have 13 more games. And, Kai, you know this. They're going to play 13 more games.
It's a long season.
Are they canceling anything, Kai? Are they giving us a week off? No. And so how do you fix it from here? Coaches need to coach better, absolutely. Maybe you need to change, tweak this or that. But it's the players' responsibility. Pete, you just said it. They had 2 home run shots. By the way, who called those plays?
Exactly.
Press Taylor. Did he get those guys wide open, Pete?
Yeah.
And should those have been touchdowns?
Yes.
Do you win the game if you hit those 2 kill shots?
Yes.
Most likely. And they missed it.
You also probably win the game if you're play calling on the goal line after getting down to the 3-yard line.
Okay, let's talk about that, Pete, because I watched the tape.
I watched the tape too.
I watched the tape. First down, Tank runs, 59 yards was it?
Yeah,
and then he's in the
like
game. Why don't you get him out? Put the
timeout. Okay, here's the play we're showing right here. I heard all this last night on the bus, the plane, Twitter. Why is Tank not getting a rest? Why don't you sub in ETN? They didn't do it. Whatever. I'm not going to even argue that because it's hard to argue why they didn't. Tank lined up, Pete, on first down and had a nice run. He got 3 yards almost.
He ran over Anton Harrison, who was on the ground.
Okay, that's fine, but it was
if Trevor kept it, it probably would have been a touchdown.
But my point is, it was a nice cut. He did not look like he was gassed. He got down basically to the 1-yard line. Okay, now we're on the 1. 2nd and 1, they call it zone read. Our right guard is in a 2-point stance with everyone else in a 3-point stance. Maybe it's because of silent count. He had to move it because it was loud because we're in a shotgun. I'm not, whatever. I think you should be in a 3-point, but I'm not questioning whether I never played guard. But what I do, because it's on the tape, he got absolutely blown up.
Big time.
And guess what? In that situation, when you're on the 1, everyone is taught as an offensive lineman, take care of the down guy. Now, if that guy's a run-through guy, maybe you have to get off quick. He was not. We got blown up, thrown so far down into the A-gap that we never even got to the linebacker and the 3 techniques slicing and blowing the whole thing up.
Correct.
If Anton and Brandon double team that guy and take him to the linebacker, Tank walks in. So, I agree. I would call it differently. What I would want to do, I like big people in that situation, go jam it up. But, Pete, you should not say a dang word because you are Mr. Spread It Out on the goal line, and you say it every week, and that's what they did. And if it's blocked effectively, guess what they do? They walk in.
Correct, but if you had a fresh running back,
it wouldn't have mattered. I don't care if you had Earl Campbell there. There's 3 guys sitting in the thing.
They rotate guys in and out like it's a hockey team on both sides of the ball.
I agree with that. I'm not, but you're missing the point I'm making. Tank walks in.
Okay, but Sheriff didn't make the block because he's not good enough.
Okay,
he's not good enough.
But is that play calling? I'm asking you a question. You just answer it. It's a yes or no question. Is it play calling?
Let me ask you this. If you're limited at your right guard position and he's not very good rooting out people in the run game, which he's not, why would you run right there?
Or 4th down.
Well, I didn't love the 4th down draw play. Listen, it almost felt like we were copying the Bills because the Bills did it against us. It worked. But the Bills play a lot of empty. How often are we in empty?
And look who's getting destroyed in that play.
I understand that. It was funny, Pete. In the booth, as soon as they got in empty,
everybody knew.
You know what Log said? Log said they're running quarterback draw.
I think they said on the broadcast too.
Yeah, I think because they never get empty. They didn't fool anybody. No one was rushing the passer, and we got blown up. So
okay, and then wait, we're forgetting 3rd down when one of their free agents that they paid money for should have caught the touchdown in the back of the end zone, and then it's all a moot point.
Well, there's another point. Is that play calling, Pete?
No, that's not play calling.
Okay, so that's.
But it was. In fairness to him, the play that they designed didn't get anybody open. He had to he ran clear across the other side to try and get open. So it was the play design got him open.
I get that, but how hard is it to get guys wide open in the tight red zone?
It's hard. It's hard. But he was. I mean, he should have caught the ball. So give him and think about that. If he catches the ball,
it's a 2-score game.
Win the game, and the quarterback walks off with 3 touchdown passes, and the narrative is entirely different.
But that's the league. That's the NFL. The difference is teams that win make the plays when you have to.
Just a couple plays and not making mistakes.
But I got a whole book
I know you
here
do.
of things I wrote down from that.
Let Kai get the break. We can't do what we do to JP where we just bully him. Kai is like, she's a professional. JP's not.
I'm here for the commercials, Pete. It's all you after that. All right, Jags fans, if you want customized Jaguars furniture for your home, check out zipchair.com to browse all the customizable options. ZipChair is furniture for fans. All right, much more to come. We are off to a hot start. We're going to talk a little bit about Trevor Lawrence coming up, what he's been dealing with and what we're seeing. This is Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans.
We need to define a great deal in today's new home market because the so-called great deals that you find on every corner just aren't the same as the incredible opportunities you'll find with a new Dreamfinders home. How about 2.99% in year one in one of Dreamfinder's 15 communities across North Florida? Now that's a great deal. 2.99% interest rate in year one and a beautiful new Dreamfinders home. Visit dfhsalesevent.com for our largest savings of the year on move-in ready homes. That's dfhsalesevent.com.
Facing cancer takes a lot of determination, strength, and support. And you'll get it all at Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center. Determination from world-renowned doctors, giving you specialized treatment with cutting-edge technology and research. Strength and support from a dedicated team, caring for you completely, during and after treatment. Don't face cancer with anything less than the team at Baptist MD Anderson. Appointments available at baptistmdanderson.com.
It's game time, Jaguars fans, and Publix knows that football is all about pairings. A high-scoring offense paired with a stingy defense. A rocket-armed QB paired with a dynamic wide receiver. And at Publix, you can pair hot deli chicken tenders with savory dips, delicious sub-platters with ice-cold beverages, and you can pair these tailgate essentials with an entire parking lot full of Jaguars fans chanting, Duval! Gear up for your tailgate at Publix, the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Chelsea here. Tired of those drafty windows and high energy bills? It's time to upgrade with Renewal by Anderson. Right now, during our exclusive sale, you can save big on custom-built, energy-efficient windows and doors designed to keep your home comfortable and secure all year round. Our Fibrex material is 2 times stronger than vinyl, providing superior durability and impact resistance. Plus, with flexible financing options available, there's never been a better time to make a switch. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation today. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Restrictions apply. License number CGC 1527613.
To aim higher, run faster. It's what elite athletes do. Always strive for better. At UF Health, we have that same DNA to not just treat a stroke, but to create a fleet of mobile stroke treatment units. To not just do research, but to use AI to save lives with one of the most powerful supercomputers in academia. We believe, like athletes, that human progress has no finish line. UF Health, National Medical Center for Team USA.
You love free. And at Ameris Bank, so do we. That's why we're proud to offer worry-free, hassle-free Ameris Bank free checking. Manage your money your way with convenient access to digital, mobile, and telephone banking, all with no monthly service fee or minimum balance requirements. At Ameris Bank, we're with you. For more information or to open an account, visit our local bankers in person or online at amerisbank.com/free checking. Other fees such as overdraft fees may apply. Ameris Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Yeah, I still have to watch it. Both felt good coming out, and obviously just missed it. The guys did a good job today of getting open. They played a lot of man coverage, which is something as an offense that you like to see. Your players get a chance to go win one-on-ones, and as a quarterback, you get to go, push the ball downfield at times. So. It was just missed a few.
It's your quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, chiming in after the game. A couple of missed throws, 2 big ones, one to Christian Kirk, one to Brian Thomas Jr. You guys, Trevor's going to be here for a while. He signed that big long-term deal. He's not looking great right now. How do we fix the situation? Pete, do you have any ideas?
So I'm laughing because I like it. He's going to be here for a while. Yes, when you get $275 billion,
that's not one of the changes we're going to see.
It's not like he's your quarterback. And I'll let Pete weigh in here in 2 seconds. I'm just going to say this. He's not playing well. He's not playing well enough. I'm still a believer, though.
He has the ability. It's
more than just the ability, because a lot of guys have the ability. I think he has the overall makeup to be the guy. I just don't think he's ready right now to hand him the football and like put it all on him. And I think that goes to a longer conversation of the structure and how we play. Now I liked it much better yesterday. We rushed for like 158 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think you got to get Bigsby going more and more. I said at the beginning of the year, and people took shots at me. I think Pete was one of them. I think Bigsby is the better true running back as far as running, especially between the tackles. I think ETN has more shiftiness, better in the pass game. And so I think you got to get Bigsby going more.
Yep. Tank had 7 attempts, 90 yards, 158 for the team.
He's a guy I'd get 15. He needs 15 plus attempts a game running the ball.
So should he be the number? Should he be starting?
In your regular, first, second down, I think he's. Yeah. I mean, Pete, don't you think he's a better pure running back?
He's become a better runner. He wasn't a good runner last year. He's much better now. He's much better now than he was. But yeah, yes and no. I think they're different. But
they're different. I'm not. ETN's a big part of the offense still.
But Tony, it goes back to, and nobody plays just one running back anymore.
No,
you know how that is.
Not at all.
But it goes back to when I talk about personnel. One of them used a first-round pick on, and he's a part-time player.
Well, guess what?
And by the way, in my thing that I told you beforehand when we were talking, I went back and watched the play. The second play of the game, Dearness Johnson was in the game. I went back and watched it.
Maybe something happened early that we don't know about. Maybe he got hurt before.
Yeah. I don't know. He didn't get hurt the first play because he kind of like dove at a guy. He didn't hit him. But
yeah, because I assume, Pete, he got hurt when he got blown up, but I don't know that. No one told me that. So maybe he was nursing something coming into the game.
They just called in the hockey line. You're in. Get over the boards. You're playing
they do
now.
That sometimes.
Kai, I don't know if you haven't figured out yet, but Pete does not like our substitution patterns.
I'm not sure I understand it either. To
be
completely honest with you.
I don't on defense at all.
Right, and that is
offense are pretty consistent. I mean, like most teams.
Yeah, usually offensively they're okay, but defensively I don't get it at all. I mean, and we're going to go back to the Buffalo game. I'll just remind you of some of the things I wrote down. There was a series right out of the gate where they had the backup linebackers in the game, right out of the gate, and then this past week, 1 first down and the starting defensive line off they go. It was 3 plays. Tony, have you ever been tired after 3 plays in your life?
No. Well, I played a position where you played every snap.
Correct.
And by the way, we've said this on the show, and the guys that were the top of their game, they played every snap on defense, or 90% of them.
Max Crosby.
He still does. I looked out there at one point. Now, this was because of the injury to Hines Allen, which we can talk about, because this team has 0 depth at D end, a true D end.
Yeah, we saw. Was Roy out there a little bit too? Roy Robertson Harris?
At one point, when the game is in question, their rush package was Eric Armstead at end.
No, I'm sorry. Provide any rush at end at all.
Roy Robinson Harris at end. Ledbetter, and I believe it was Mason Smith,
who actually flashed in that game.
And then they rotated and they put Armstead inside and brought Abdullah as the other rush. And I'm like, no one. I mean, CJ just sat back there. There was no pressure at the end of the game.
When you have all that group right there, and it's not even when Hines Allen's on the field, it's not an explosive group. They're power. Josh Allen Hines Allen. He's a good player, and he's getting pressures, and he did some good things, but he's not an explosive edge rusher. And Trayvon Walker's not an explosive edge rusher. Then you put Armstead in there. He should be playing 3 technique. But I want to be a defensive end, so they're going to allow me to play defensive end. That's why I signed my contract here. I don't get it. I just don't get any of it. It makes no sense to me.
They're getting a lot of play from some of these younger players too, because while he's rotating everybody in now with all the injuries on defense, we saw we saw a lot more from Ventrell Miller. Monteric Brown's out there a ton now. What is your analysis of some of those guys?
Well, I'll say this. The 2 best players on defense, in my opinion, on Sunday were Monteric Brown and Ventrell Miller.
Yes.
Those are 2 best players on the field. Mm-hmm. I mean, as far as performance.
Sure.
I agree with you. Before Josh got hurt, Josh is good he is physical. He's good against the run. He pushes the pocket. He gets pressure. I'd like him to see him get a little bit more on the edge more often. But he won a couple times immediately, and the ball was gone before he even get there. And so nothing he can do about that. But so we know who Josh Allen. He's probably, he's the best player on the team right now. Josh Allen, Hines Allen's the best player on the team.
And if you had a speed guy on the other side who could provide, you would see him getting a guy who could win up the field and push the quarterback toward him. He'd get a lot more sacks coming at him because he's such a power player.
But in Sunday's game, Ventrell Miller, he had a couple coverage issues at times. Like you could see in some of his drops, it looked like it was a little off. I'm not an expert on that, but talking to Jeff, that's what it looked like to me. But as far as just playing with speed and aggressiveness, I felt like he made every tackle.
And just brought a little pop. It felt like he brought some energy too.
He brought energy out there. And then Monteric Brown, kudos to the kid. He's played. Tyson Campbell gets hurt. He comes into the starter. And I remember thinking, what's going to happen here? He's the best corner on the team right now.
I'm with you.
He's physical, too. He's not a big guy, and he comes up and sticks his head in there and makes tackle. I saw some stat. He had, all these breakups again this week, and, the quarterback's completion percentage when they went towards him was terrible. I'm highly impressed with both those guys. I think they played really good football. It's positive.
Yeah, me too. But, okay, you mentioned Ventrell Miller because before I watched the tape, I saw I watched the game, but I wanted to watch, and I saw all the – you mentioned the pass defense. There are things I'll give you an example. The shot to Schultz in the middle of the field. I think it was he kind of took a step to the left and he's got to stay there and get a little depth.
But Pete, don't you think those are things he'll figure out as he plays more reps? Yes.
Correct. But he was aggressive. He thumped. He came up. He made plays in the backfield. When was the last time you saw linebackers making plays in the backfield like that? That I agree, Tony. So what do you do? What do you do?
I don't take him off the field.
So who sits?
Foyer's out for 4 more weeks, so you don't have to even answer that question.
Okay, but if he was back, let's spin it forward. If he's back
right now, based on play, I don't the decision you're making is Foyer or Devin.
Well, also
it's not or Muma. It's Ventrell is that game. Now it's a small sample size, so let's see him do it multiple weeks in a row.
Right.
But just if we're just gauging it from what we've seen, he gives you something no one else has, which is speed and thump. Now, Devin has thump, but he's can't speed. Run like Ventrell.
No, you saw him trying to chase Dalton Kincaid in Buffalo. He can't cover him.
You can't. Foyer is the smartest player on our team as far as knowing everywhere, and so he's always in the right position, so it makes him play even faster than he probably is. And so I don't know how you take Foyer off the field when he's healthy, because I think he's I didn't understand why they were rotating him.
But here's the thing: it's I completely understand your conversation. In a normal linebacking group, they would play a lot of those plays. The way they rotate them, even Foyer's not even above 80%,
which I disagree with 1,000%. I do not think I would I'm not a defensive coordinator, never been one, but I played a lot of football and been around the game a long time. You don't take your best linebacker off the field ever. No, you just don't.
By the way, they better be careful. They're going to get called for too many men on the ice. They better be really careful. It's ridiculous the way they
love a hockey reference.
With the shift change.
Yeah, that's what they always talk about. How they're like a hockey team with the rotation. Too many men on the ice. Look, as far as Ventrell Miller, here's the interesting case scenario that they got a team that comes in this week. They're pretty physical up front. We'll see how he does in the run game against Jonathan Taylor. That's a good test for him, Tony. Don't you agree?
And they have a good offensive line.
Yeah.
They're physical. They have a good back. Now, he's nursing a mild high ankle sprain, but it sounds like he's going to play based on all the reports early.
So if he plays well, and is Lloyd going to play this week, does it sound like?
We don't know. We haven't.
If he plays,
that's hard to tell.
Who plays? Who starts? That's the question.
Ventrell has to start.
So if it's Ventrell and Muma, well, now let's go back to the personnel department again, because you traded up to go get that guy, and he wouldn't be on the field? What in the hell? I mean, what the heck?
Pete, you and I could have a 3-hour show on just some of the decisions from that standpoint.
Yeah, right.
But let's focus on let's focus on what they do this season
No, I like focusing on all
I know
the
you
bad
do.
moves.
I know you do.
Because I'll give you another one. I watched the Jets yesterday. Quincy Williams is flying all over the field. They could have kept him on the roster. They wouldn't have had to draft and spend all the damn money they've done on that linebacker position.
Pete, it's hard to argue. When we come back, though, because we started this with a Trevor Lawrence clip, we need to dig into the quarterback a little bit.
I agree. We got to talk about that.
Yeah. Sorry about that. We went off on a tangent.
No,
we
we're
apologize. Good. We apologize to her. We don't apologize.
We
to
like
JP.
Kai. We never, ever apologize to JP because, frankly,
it's JP.
It's JP.
Fair enough. All right. Sign up your furry friend for the Jaguars official four-legged fan club for pets, presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital. Your pet will receive access to exclusive merchandise, events, and sweepstakes throughout the 2024 season. Sign up at jaguars.com/promotion/four-legged fan club today. When we return, we are going to talk about Trevor Lawrence, the issues he's been dealing with, and how to fix them. Coming up here on Happy Hour.
We need to define a great deal in today's new home market because the so-called great deals that you find on every corner just aren't the same as the incredible opportunities you'll find with a new Dreamfinders home. How about 2.99% in year one in one of Dreamfinder's 15 communities across North Florida? Now that's a great deal. 2.99% interest rate in year one and a beautiful new Dreamfinders home. Visit dfhsalesevent.com for our largest savings of the year on move-in ready homes. That's dfhsalesevent.com.
Brooks Rehabilitation is proud to be the official rehabilitation partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are here for them, and we are here for you. Ranked #1 physical rehabilitation hospital in Florida by U.S. News and World Report, our playbook is individualized treatment and exceptional care to get you back to living your life. Brooks has cutting-edge technology and therapy solutions in every care setting, treating sports injury, orthopedics, brain, spinal injuries, and more. Go beyond your expectations with Brooks Rehabilitation.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with ZipChair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high-quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a ZipChair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and DC 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank NA, member FDIC.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Start worrying about your status at this point or not?
My status?
Yeah. After knowing 4 start.
I mean, no. I mean, it's kind of a strange question, but okay.
It's your head coach, Doug Peterson, weighing in on his job status after the game. I knew you'd enjoy that, Tony.
I saw that last night. I don't know how you're supposed to answer that if you're Doug.
It's a very awkward question.
And
so
by the way, Pete, I think I don't think that's the right question after it's too early for that. If you that's the question when you're 1-7 or 2-6 or 3-10. I mean, whatever. But after 4 games, I just don't think that's the right question. That's my opinion.
Was that D-Rock?
It was Mike DiRocco from ESPN.
And I love D-Rock. Love him. And
Me too.
and it's good comic relief because of Doug's answer. Like, just he didn't know what he's like. Okay, but Pete, I mean, you're a pro. You're a pro media guy. I'm just an amateur media guy. I mean, is that a little early to ask that question?
It's a little early to ask it that. I would have done it a different way, and my usual way to get the answer I needed to get out of him. What you say is there's a lot of chatter around in town.
Other people are saying it. Yeah.
About your job security, and do you think it's something you need to be worried about that way? But look, it's Tony. It's out there. People are calling for his head. Let's be real.
Yeah, everybody is.
Right. Is it early to be calling for his head? Probably.
Yeah, that's my point. I think it's early.
I think their venom might be directed in the wrong place.
It is only a month in, gentlemen. I know it feels like months, but it's only a month.
Yeah, it feels like it's like dog
Where
years.
should it be directed?
Yeah, where should it be directed, Pete?
At the general manager.
Okay.
He's been around through thick and thin and thick and thin, and he's the guy. There's one constant. Wasn't he here with Doug Marrone, Dave Caldwell, Tom Coughlin, Urban Meyer?
He wasn't here with Tom. He was not here with Tom. He was here with Dave and Doug, and then Urban.
With Tom.
No, he was
under
not.
Tom.
No, he was not.
I think he was. He was. If you look at his,
I'll bet you money. Tom got fired the next year.
I'm gonna look at it right now.
The next year, Dave brought him in.
We'll let Pete fact check. Hold on one second.
Okay, sorry.
We're gonna.
I'll be quiet.
We have to check in with the MVP of the truck game. Better check out the 2024 Ford F-150, loaded with impressive capability and game-changing tech. You can dominate work, play, and everything in between. Test drive an F-150 at your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I got
Tony,
an F-150.
I'm sure.
I drove it here today.
Absolutely.
Love Ford. Pete, let's talk about the quarterback as you're fact-checking. Maybe you can be on the vice president debate later. You can fact-check that, too.
Tony, I actually have a question for you about him. Because I felt like the offensive line, by the eye test, I didn't see them being awful as other points in the year we saw them being a problem. I felt maybe this was their best game that we've seen as a whole. But when you're Trevor Lawrence, and you know maybe that they aren't, you've had the issues with them in the past. Does that get in your head mentally? Does that affect them?
I think it does.
To where now even if you play well, it's still in his head?
It shouldn't, but there's a cumulative effect. I mean, the first 3 games, they were not good.
No.
Buffalo, they were just, I think they had 21 pressures, if I'm not mistaken, 21, some big number. And so guy gets hit too much, starts looking at the rush a little bit, eyes come down. Yeah, that's a problem. And so I don't think that was I didn't notice Trevor all over the place. I mean, he had the one weird pirouette where he's running around.
I didn't know if some of the airmails are him worried about that, or do you think it's something else?
That's no excuse.
Okay.
He cannot have that excuse. As far as the offensive line, I think you're right. I thought it was their best game. They rushed for over 150 yards. No sacks.
They were good.
Yeah, no sacks.
By the way, I was wrong. He came in 2020. Tom was gone. Okay, but then we'll eliminate Tom, Caldwell, Marrone, Urban,
Doug.
And then
and Doug.
right? That's
and Doug.
And let's not forget Rick Spielman was going to come and he didn't come for a reason.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, I got you.
I mean, look, you get it. And so when you look at it, Tony, who's to blame for the roster?
Well,
that's the personnel department.
That's the GM's job. Yes, that's the GM's job.
So if the venom is at Doug, it should be just as more, if not even more, at the general manager.
Well, I think everyone's getting their equal due on X. So I've seen everyone's name thrown out there getting fired.
I think everyone is getting the blame at this point.
But Pete, let's talk about Trevor. Because Kai brought up a great point. I mean, Trevor, frankly, was not very good. Now, you're right. If Gabe Davis catches that ball, it's probably a different narrative. But I don't think the narrative changes that he missed 2 touchdowns that were wide open. And there was a couple balls that his receivers had to make acrobatic catches for short gains. And now he made some really nice throws, too.
Yeah,
the touchdown.
This one, there's no reason you can't hit this one. This is ridiculous.
Especially as fast as he is.
Or this one. Oh, that same one.
No, this is the same one.
Yeah, the next one, the
great
Kirk
double
one
move
was
by Thomas. He's got to hit that.
The Kirk one was almost worse to me because he was so open. There was no safety over the top. But Kai was asking, is he looking at the rush? Is that the problem? Because the offensive line has not been good, but they were really good on Sunday. No, like almost no pressure at all. Ran the ball. I mean, they did their job, and he should have operated. The Texans are playing man. I mean, he should have shredded them, and he did not. And he's just not playing good football right now. He's not playing good enough to win. And
Well, I think Buffalo, he got a little shell shocked up there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, and the mechanics when he's a long strider, and so if you watch his mechanics, when he gets mechanically sped up, he starts throwing high passes and he's inaccurate. He's hurried up. And I think that even though he didn't need to be on Sunday, Tony, that kind of carries over. When he, like the one to Kirk, that's a play action, turn your body and fire a shot down there where you give him a little air and let him run under it. And mechanically, that's not, you could tell he's not setting his feet. And there were moments in where he's hopping. I just mechanically, I think he's having problems. I'm not a quarterback whisperer or anything, but he's a long strider, and I think that's part of the problem. You mentioned the one. How about the one on the sideline? This one was really weird to me. The one on the side, and the body language was terrible by Thomas too. He's running down the right sideline.
Yeah, and he threw it out of bounds. Didn't even give him a chance.
Well, he's got to be able to. That's got to have a little air on it because he threw it like on a shot.
Yeah, it's right here. It's not even. It's.
Yeah.
Did he turn the right way?
I have no idea, but the ball was out of bounds. I mean, it was almost like.
And the body language. Look at it. The body language is terrible, and it's almost like you can see his wide receivers are starting to get a little frustrated with him, which makes him, I think, press even more. This ball has to be in the inside. It's got to be to the inside there. It's just a miss, and they're missing too many. The receivers won on Sunday and didn't get the passes. I think he sped up. Buffalo, I'm going to criticize the receivers a little bit.
Well, and the offensive line, he was getting killed.
Well, the offensive line was terrible. And you know what else they do, Tony? When teams play zone, and Buffalo plays a ton of zone, they run through the zone instead of sitting down, and they run right into a man. They're terrible at it. Terrible. And that's a problem.
What do you do with Trevor? What's the fix, Pete? I got an idea, but I want to hear yours first because my guess is I'm going to disagree with whatever you say. But go ahead.
Why are you going to disagree with me?
Because I have a hunch. I have a hunch what he's going to say.
You want to run the ball.
No, Pete's answer always, Kai, is like spread it out, speed it up, go fast, throw it around, get going, and that's not the answer.
Well, okay, I'm gonna tell you something here. Okay, Sam Darnold, right? I'm going to use this. Sam Darnold.
Fourth team.
Was it okay? But he was a disaster.
Trojan. Great Trojan.
Very good. He wasn't very good in his last couple stops, even though he's a Trojan and you love him. He
Great Trojan. MVP candidate right now.
So on Sunday, he is the MVP right now. And on Sunday, the Packers sack him, cause a fumble, get a turnover.
I saw your tweet.
Make it 28-22. And all of a sudden you look around, you go, Sam Darnold's becoming Sam Darnold again. But what does Kevin O'Connell do? He throws it 6 of the next 7 plays. They get a field goal. Game over. That's not the way Jacksonville wants. They don't let that happen. They turn and hand it off twice and then put him in 3rd and long.
Pete, this is my problem with your comparison, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has been around and has been beat to hell. And he's had to learn the hard way through multiple teams, people giving up on him. And I think he's found the right situation. I always thought he was a good player, and I was biased because I'm an SC guy. And I think he's now in a system with a head coach and in a place where, going in, not a ton of pressure because everyone thought the rookie was going to be, the guy there. He had a great preseason. Rookie gets hurt, and he's saying, hey, I'm going to take advantage of my shot. Like, it's almost – I'm sure there's a little bit of him feeling like I'm playing with house money. Like, no one thinks I'm going to do anything. Everyone has labeled me as a first-round bust. I can just go play with freedom. I don't think Trevor's playing with freedom. I think it looks like he has the weight of the world on him. And Correct. So the last thing I think you do when a guy is like that, because I believe in Trevor. I think he is uber talented. I think he has the right mentality. I think he wants to be good. I think he is pressing. I think he's not confident. And I think he has the weight of the world right now. He got signed a big deal, all the expectations.
He's the guy.
All the things going on. And so I think you go the opposite. I'll be like, hey, listen, just relax. We're gonna run the ball. We're gonna be physical. We're gonna play good field position football. And, we're gonna ask you to make some plays, but we're not gonna put the whole thing on you. And we're gonna play action pass. We're gonna move the pocket. And we're going to do things and let him get some confidence. Let him see it's like a 3-point shooter who can't hit the broadside of a barn. Like, hey, let's go get some layups, get some mid-range shots. Like, let's take some easy ones. See the ball go through, get fouled, shoot a couple free throw shots. See the ball go in. And I think you need Trevor to get some opportunities to see success. And have.
So you want to turn him? You want to turn him in what the Chargers have turned Justin Herbert into?
No, I didn't say, Pete. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this is the process where you get him to the player he should be. He's not that right now. So I'm a big believer. Don't ask guys to do things that they can't do right now.
So, okay, but if he can't do it, like you're saying, he can't do it, then you got a major problem on your hands.
No, he can do it right now in where he's at. All right, we got to go to a break. Let's go. I want to finish this conversation because I want to talk about Pete, and I want you to pick apart what I would do with Trevor.
All right, stay with us here on Happy Hour. Coming up after the break, we will give you the details how to fix things with Trevor Lawrence.
Navigating the current housing market and figuring out your best move when it comes to a mortgage isn't your full-time job, but it's one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. That's where the experts at Jet Home Loans get into the game and coach you to your ultimate goal of getting not just the right loan, but the perfect loan for you, the home of your dreams. Jet Home Loans works with you all the way, from application to closing, making sure your game plan is perfect. Make the call to Jet Home Loans and let their team join your team to make your dreams take flight. Visit jethl.com.
The power of a great team starts with the right equipment, specialized skills, and the training to win. That's why ASAP Dental Care and the Jaguars have the home team advantage. At ASAP Dental Care, we follow our playbook to perfection to exceed your expectations. Count on us to be there for you 7 days a week to deliver full-service dental care. Score a winning smile with ASAP Dental Care today.
Are you ready to love how you feel, look, and live in every season? At Elace, we offer more than just luxury med spa treatments. We provide a serene, judgment-free space where you can reconnect with the best version of you. Whether you want to refresh your natural look with Botox or Dysport, pamper yourself with a relaxing hydrofacial, or rejuvenate your complexion with laser resurfacing, our expert team in Jacksonville is here to tailor treatments to your needs. Visit Elace.com today and start your journey to loving yourself.
It's not about how you start the job. It's about finishing what you start. The Ford F-150 truck can help. Get the freedom to choose between available gas, Power Boost Hybrid, or all-electric powertrains, all delivering the power, capability, and efficiency needed to get the job done right. Just another reason why Ford F-Series is the best-selling truck in America 47 straight years. Ford F-150, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
If you're facing cancer, you want a dedicated team working for you. At Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center, we only focus on cancer. And we partner with one of the largest cancer centers in the world. So you'll have a specialized treatment plan created by our experienced and highly trained oncologists and surgeons, collaborating with one of the country's leading cancer centers. Best of all, we're in North Florida with locations in downtown, Baptist South, and Clay. Appointments at baptistmdanderson.com.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more, or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Welcome back into Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Jet Home Loans. I'm Kainani Stevens in for JP Shadrick today. Pete Prisco, Tony Boselli are here with me, trying to answer your questions for you. We'll get to some Fanatics fan questions in the next hour, but right now we're still trying to figure out exactly what to do with 16. You guys are differing philosophies? Pete, you didn't give us your full philosophy. What do you think we should do with Trevor?
Because I nailed it. Go ahead, Pete.
Well, here's one that bothers me to no end is they don't throw the ball into the middle of the field at all. Now, whether that's by design, they're afraid of him, they don't think the protection in the middle is good enough. I don't know why. But you go back to the Miami game, Kirk hit a shot in the middle of the field. Even last week, 2 weeks ago in Buffalo, late, third quarter when they got it rolling a little bit, he hit a shot to Kirk in the middle of the field. They don't throw it in the middle of the field enough. And that's part of – I think if they did some things differently, and we've seen what Brian Thomas could do. That kid's just going to be a star. He can run crossers. He can go down the field. He can run into the middle of the field. Now, is he a great route runner? No. But that's coming. And so I think you need to use those guys down in the middle of the field. It's too much to the sideline, and I don't know why. I don't know the answer to that. Is it design? Is it him? Are they afraid of him throwing into the middle of the field? Because I think there's opportunities there. So if you did something like that, that's, and Tony, I'm always a big believer in taking shots on first down.
Yep.
And if you do take a shot on first down, there's no obligatory NFL rule that says you have to run it on second down to have it better for manageable on third down like every team in the league does. So I just think if you allow him, the best he's ever played is when? The best.
Second half of 22.
And what's the best game he's ever had?
Second half of the Chargers game after the worst half.
No, the whole game. What's the best whole game he's ever had?
That's a good question.
I'd have to go back and look. Guy, you stumped me.
But he's had some where he's thrown for 330 and stuff like that. When was the last time Trevor Lawrence has thrown for 300 yards in a game?
It's been
Probably Texans last year, maybe.
Did he even get 300 then?
Yeah, he had one where he was like 328 or something, I think, last year. But the bottom line is, if you turn him into a restrictive quarterback and you're paying him that kind of money, you're doing a disservice, A, to your organization, and you're doing a disservice to the kid.
So, Pete, let me be clear, because I've said it 3 times now. I think he can do it. I think he can be the guy. I'm talking like, how do you get him there? And I think you got to take a little bit of pressure and let him take a deep breath and relax and say, we're going to come out, we're going to run the ball, we're going to get the screen game going, we're going to get some vertical, and I know you hate this, Pete, these horizontal.
The bubble screens.
But I'm just saying, and hey, get some zone reads, get some quarterback reads. The guy's athletic. Look at how he played at Clemson, running around, making plays. Like, get him into the game a little bit with some play action pass, running the ball. And so he has no confidence right now. At least my view of watching him play. It's like the weight of the world is on him. And he is not executing, and it just is piling up. So it's like, okay, take a deep breath, dude. You're good. We all believe in you. You're fine. We're going to run the ball. We're going to play action pass. We're going to run screens. We're going to get some easy completions. And then maybe, Pete, as you get some success and start moving the ball and doing some things, then you can open it up more. But I just think right now, just opening it up and asking him to take deep shots and throw it around the yard is a recipe for disaster. Because he's not executing.
Yeah, but I can play the flip side of that, Tony, and say your philosophy, if you go run, get two, and then go make a play, and now you're in third and long, and that's a recipe for disaster.
It's based on a personality, and I don't know Trevor well enough to know what he'll respond well to. I think sometimes taking the pressure off by putting it on other people is helpful, but some people maybe they want to get in a rhythm, they want more reps. So I don't know which he would respond to best, but I think they're both interesting points of view in the sense that one of those I hope would work, but also Trevor needs to take some. Do you think he needs to take some onus on himself? Pete, you're talking about some of his mechanics. Does he need to alter some of what he's doing?
Well, I think part of the mechanical problems has stemmed from the bad offensive line play over the last couple of years, and him being injured. I mean, when you're a long strider, you watch him, he's a long strider, and that means he needs to be pretty clean in the pocket. And so when you're a long strider, that you need protection. And I think when the protection waned, you saw it in Buffalo. He got out of some pockets where he felt pressure that wasn't there.
Well, that's because he got hit all night.
Yeah, that means you're starting to see, but you're also starting to see ghosts, and that happens to guys. So I think, Tony, if you dictate tempo, you minimize that. Now, on Sunday, I'm going to give you that. I thought the offensive line played, for that group, they played really good football for that group.
You know, my biggest concern, Pete, the way I think about it, and I am so biased because I think this is how you play football. I just think you run the ball, you control the line of scrimmage, you take your shots off a play action pass, different philosophy. I'm not saying that, but I'm not sure we're built that way to do it. And so Pete, you might be right. Maybe it's better just to open it up and go to town and live or die with it. But I'll just go back to, because everyone thinks that he has, I mean, you paid him the money. It is what it is. You paid it. He's not performing at that level yet. Okay. That doesn't mean he's a bust. That doesn't mean it's over. I can go through the history of this league, and I'll just use the example of the greatest quarterback to ever play, Tom Brady. And Pete, you know this. The first 5 years of his career, that team was built around running the ball and playing great defense.
Yeah.
Was it not, Pete?
Yeah.
And then the guy got better and better, got confidence, and all of a sudden he became the GOAT. He became Tom Brady that we now remember the last 15 years of his career. Now, he played for 100 years, so he had the opportunity to do that.
Yes.
And so I'm not saying to dumb it down. I'm not saying to tell Trevor you can't do it, so we're going to switch everything we do. Like, I like what we did against Houston. Let's run the ball. Let's get it going. Let's get play action passes. Let's get some shots around the field where he gets some early success so that he's feeling it, and then you can open it up a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about their ability to run it consistently.
It's a fair point, Pete. I can't argue with that.
Lots of opinions, lots of options. We're going to talk all things out. We're an hour in. We still got a second hour of Jaguars Happy Hour. We're going to keep it real. The Fanatics fan questions are ahead of us as well. All that right here on Happy Hour. Stick with us.
We need to define a great deal in today's new home market because the so-called great deals that you find on every corner just aren't the same as the incredible opportunities you'll find with a new Dreamfinders home. How about 2.99% in year one in one of Dreamfinder's 15 communities across North Florida? Now that's a great deal. 2.99% interest rate in year one and a beautiful new Dreamfinders home. Visit DFHSalesEvent.com for our largest savings of the year on move-in ready homes. That's DFHSalesEvent.com.
Brooks Rehabilitation is proud to be the official rehabilitation partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are here for them, and we are here for you. Ranked #1 physical rehabilitation hospital in Florida by U.S. News and World Report, our playbook is individualized treatment and exceptional care to get you back to living your life. Brooks has cutting-edge technology and therapy solutions in every care setting, treating sports injury, orthopedics, brain, spinal injuries, and more. Go beyond your expectations with Brooks Rehabilitation.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
It's game time, Jaguars fans, and Publix knows that football is all about pairings. A high-scoring offense paired with a stingy defense. A rocket-armed QB paired with a dynamic wide receiver. And at Publix, you can pair hot deli chicken tenders with savory dips, delicious sub-platters with ice-cold beverages, and you can pair these tailgate essentials with an entire parking lot full of Jaguars fans chanting, Duval! Gear up for your tailgate at Publix, the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's not about how you start the job. It's about finishing what you start. The Ford F-150 truck can help. Get the freedom to choose between available gas, Power Boost Hybrid, or all-electric powertrains, all delivering the power, capability, and efficiency needed to get the job done right. Just another reason why Ford F-Series is the best-selling truck in America 47 straight years. Ford F-150, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Chelsea here. Tired of those drafty windows and high energy bills? It's time to upgrade with Renewal by Andersen. Right now, during our exclusive sale, you can save big on custom-built, energy-efficient windows and doors designed to keep your home comfortable and secure all year round. Our Fibrex material is 2 times stronger than vinyl, providing superior durability and impact resistance. Plus, with flexible financing options available, there's never been a better time to make a switch. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation today. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Restrictions apply. License number CGC 1527613.
It's frustrating. It's not going our way. We weren't able to find a way to win this game. We had some mistakes out there, yeah, but we just have to stay together. It's going to teach us something. It's going to prepare us for the future, and stay positive. I mean, there was things that we did well today, and we just have to do more of it, you know. And I don't think we don't need to blow everything up and start over. Like we got good players. We have a good scheme offensively. We had great things today, and we just got to consistently make those plays. You know, I thought we had a lot of opportunities. So just keep working. That's the message. Just keep working this week.
Frustration all around here. I'm Kainani Stevens in for JP Shadrick today. Tony Boselli and Pete Prisco are with me. This is the second hour of Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings. Before the game, after the game, during the game. Absolutely want to check them out. Let's go over some of the topics of the day. It's troublesome here. They're 0-4. This team's still searching for their first win of the year. They led against the Texans, had a great opportunity right off the bat after the muff punt. They were able to get an early touchdown to Brian Thomas Jr. Kind of finally felt like that was maybe that moment, the momentum shift they'd been looking for, because they had looked so listless on Monday Night Football. And they did okay. They did some good things. We saw some plays from Brian Thomas Jr., touchdown to Christian Kirk as well. Tank Bigsby had a great game, including a big 58-yard run. But again, couldn't convert on third down a lot, had trouble, couldn't convert on that 4th and 1. And then CJ Stroud just coming back with that game-winning drive. I think we all kind of felt that off the top. I don't want to speak for you guys, but that feeling of when CJ Stroud got the ball, Tony, in the building, it kind of felt like when he got it, you were like, oh, he's going to go score at this point.
Yeah, that kid's good. I mean, he has good receivers. Nico Collins he's good. I mean,
you know what's amazing about it? He didn't even play that well on Sunday. And you look up and he had 360 yards or whatever throwing it.
Well, I mean, they are so undisciplined, and they up front, their offensive line, golly, they just killed.
Boy, the left guard was terrible.
Terrible. Golly, bad.
Which is all the more the point. Their offensive line didn't look great, and we only got one and that extra sack from Ledbetter. So that Roy Robertson Harrison sack at the end.
Yeah, we forced some holds, though, so that's positive. But, yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons we have no turnovers, because we don't pressure very well. You create turnovers by creating pressure on the quarterback.
Well, here's the other part of that is, we talk about Trevor. When C.J. Stroud scrambles, he somehow always seems to keep his head up and fire a shot down the field.
That's a good point. He's always looking to continue to throw. I feel like sometimes when Trevor's moving, he's just trying to get away. He's not looking, hey, how can I extend this play?
Yeah, that has to change. That's something
a great point.
That has to change for him.
It reminds me a little bit, I don't know if you think this, but I feel like Lamar Jackson used to do that a little bit earlier in his career. He would run to run and then kind of adapted and became able to elude people and then continue to want to throw. And maybe that's something he can learn as it goes along.
Yeah, but the big difference there, and I think you're probably right, Lamar ran like 4.3, so he was better.
Different kinds of running.
He was a better running back than most of the running backs in the league.
This is true.
But here's the other thing about, and this is something I've noticed just watching quarterbacks over the years, C.J. Stroud and Jaden Daniels both make it look so effortless and easy, and it's not – even when they're rushed and pressured, it's still head up, fire a shot, makes it – and you look up and they both have 300 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Whereas a guy like Trevor in this offense, and even like you can go to Caleb Williams and others, it's a work in progress trying to get them to do the things that they need to do in the confines of the offense. And I think that's the biggest difference. Does it ever look effortless for Trevor? It doesn't.
Not lately. It has not.
It looks robotic at times. It looks robotic, and he's, like you said, Tony, he's pressing and he's thinking about all his mechanics instead of just playing football.
Yeah, that's my point, Pete. I think he's thinking too much, and not just playing and reacting to what he sees and what's going on, because he's a premium athlete. And he can run. He's big. He can do all those things. But right now, something is just off from how, I think mechanical is the right word. It looks mechanical. And it's hard to play the game, any game, if you're mechanical.
Yeah, because he's getting out. And when he's getting out, like we said, he's going. And you look at the other guy, because the other guy got out a bunch on Sunday. And when he got out, he made plays. And when he didn't get out, when he didn't have anybody down the field, he ran and got first downs.
Yeah, he bought time to throw the ball.
Yes. And it looks easy. It looks effortless. And that's the difference.
Well,
right
Pete,
there.
talking about, you brought up Caleb Williams. I didn't see the game. I know we can review this in the last segment. But I read on Twitter or X that he had 124 passer rating under pressure on Sunday.
He was better. He's getting better. It's still not, you know what I'm saying? When
I didn't see it. I have no idea.
Yeah, but with Jaden Daniels, you've seen him play, though. With a guy like Jaden Daniels.
I haven't seen Jaden Daniels play one game.
You haven't?
No.
You don't turn your TV on ever, huh?
Well, I cover this team called the Jaguars that are usually
playing. They played on a night game.
I didn't see it. Oh, it was the same night that we played.
That's right.
It was the other game.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could have turned that game off early and gone back in the back
left the
and
booth
watched
and gone
the
and
other
watched.
one.
I don't think that would have been appreciated.
Let Jeff handle it. Say you want to go watch some football in the back.
Yeah, I don't think that would have been appreciated. So, but they need to figure it out because it's hard to win in this league if your quarterback's not playing well.
Tony, how do you deal with the pressure? You're in. Trevor, your number one pick. You got the contract now. You're the guy. Obviously, he's not dealing with it great. How do you kind of reset it mentally?
I think the first thing you got to tell yourself is what I'm doing is not working. So me being anxious and worrying about it and putting all this pressure on me isn't working. So let me try the opposite. I'm just not going to give two you-know-what of what anyone thinks. I know I'm good. I know I can play this position. I'm going to study my tail off this week. I'm going to be prepared. And I'm going to go out there with a little confidence and swagger, even if I have to fake it. Fake it till you make it. But I'm not going to sit here and worry about making a mistake. I'm not going to be afraid of failing. I'm not going to be thinking through and trying to be perfect. I'm just going to go play. I played this game for a long time. I was great in high school. I was great in college. I know I can be great here. I've done great things in this league at moments. I'm just going to go play. And you know what? If I throw a pick, I throw a pick. I'm gonna go sling it around. I'm gonna go make plays. I'm gonna run this offense. I'm gonna lead this offense. That's my job. I'm to lead the offense. So I'm gonna go lead these guys, and I'm gonna play with some confidence and swagger, and I'm gonna get after it. And at least if it goes bad, then it didn't go bad because I was thinking or I was worried about failing or I was pressing or trying too hard. I'm just gonna go play because what you're doing is not working. You're getting all the heat right now.
Right.
And it's not working.
And rightfully so. But Tony, here's let's go through this a second. Once you realize that you were a great player, okay, maybe not a great player, but when you realized you could handle it and be good in the NFL, did you ever get anxious after that?
Oh, every game. I actually think when you get to the top, you have to manage that even more.
But were you pressing? I'm saying, did it impact the way you played the game? Once you took the field and hit somebody, did it impact the way you played the game?
Yeah, no. I mean, when you get out there, you start playing. I mean, but there was moments, like big moments. You're like, okay, like the game's on the line 2 minutes. Like, okay, I got to go do my job. Go do your technique. Like, don't think about the moment, and don't let the moment become too big because then you'll get anxious. But I think when you get to the top of being the best, like of what you do, that's only half the journey. It's how do you stay there? Because
but I'm talking about a guy who's allowing pressure of the contract and everything to impact him.
So the contract never bothered me. So you have to find out what motivates you.
That's what it shouldn't. He needs to take that out of the equation.
That's my point. It doesn't matter. You're getting paid. Like I'd be like, okay, I'm getting paid. That's
so
off the table.
What has changed for him? Let's just put this through. What has changed for him in 3 years that has made him become a player who is robotic and mechanical and not the same?
I don't know. But I'll just say...
Is it development? Development. There's no... That's a problem in that organization. Development.
It's a fair question, Pete. I'll just tell you, to answer your question from my perspective, the pressure is not going anywhere. if you're the quarterback, or if you want to be if you want to be good at anything. It's okay to have some anxiety going in because that knows that to me that tells you it's important. It's how you manage that, and I think the management of that is because Pete, there was times in my career, and you'll remember this. I'll never forget it. I remember we played a preseason game against the San Francisco 49ers. Chris Dolman got a sack against me early in the game. The next day in the Times-Union, because of people like Pete, who were just bad people, on the front page of the sports section, Boselli gives up a sack. And I remember reading that, going, what about the other 50 plays?
They remember the worst one, yeah.
And so I had to tell myself, is like, okay, if I worry about making a mistake, or if I worry about getting beat, then I'm not going to play as well. Because then you become mechanical. You become robotic. You're thinking. You're over. Instead of, I played my best football whenever I went out there and just competed. I wasn't worried about technique. I wasn't worried about, what happens if it doesn't work. What happens if they get a sack? What happens if this or that or the other? I just went out there and trusted my ability and competed. And I think when you have pressure and you're in a position where all the expectations are on you to be great. And Trevor hasn't reached that in the NFL yet, but he's reached it in college and he's reached it other places. So the expectation followed him here. Being the first overall pick of this franchise and going through that and having expectations. I had to manage that because I knew myself, because I think Trevor's like this, where you're harder on yourself than anyone else can be. So you have to manage yourself saying, okay, I just got to go play. Let the chips fall where they may. If I go out there and compete and put the work in, because that's where you worry about technique is, and during the week, you put the work in, you get your technique down, you rep it, study, watch film, so that when you get into the game, you're just reacting and competing against the guy across from you. And that's where that's where you stop being mechanical and stop worrying about being perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect.
But here's the difference, though, Tony. You're playing a position where you got a man or who's looper, stunner, double, whatever. When you're the quarterback and you're allowing things to impact you, you're seeing everything. It's entirely different. So when you start doubting at all, then it becomes it magnifies it by 100 times what it might be.
Pete,
for you.
I agree with you. The quarterback position is a much harder position, especially mentally, to play than left tackle. No, it's not. It's night and day. What is on his plate is much larger. What I'm trying to communicate, Pete, is this. It's the same from the standpoint, and I felt it playing for this franchise. Once I became at the top of the highest, the number one tackle in the league, whatever it was, offensive lineman of the year, all the different things, then you have to realize the expectation is that I'm never going to get beat and that it's going to be perfect. And when something does go wrong, people are going to notice it and they're going to say something. And I had to tell myself I can't worry about that, because if I go out there worried about giving up a sack or getting beat or having a bad play, I'm gonna be a mess. I'm not gonna be able to do it. Like, Pete, I'll tell you, you remember these matchups. My favorite games to play were against Baltimore and Michael McCrary. I was the most nervous going into those games, so I knew I was getting ready for like a 15-round heavyweight fight, because this guy was going to be just tenacious. But it was fun when you got into the game, because it was like you were just battling. You were playing football.
But here's the difference, Tony.
But let me translate this to how I think it works at quarterback, because the mental part, he has so much more to deal with, no doubt about it. But my point to Trevor is man, you can't worry about what everyone else's expectations are. You can't worry about having the big contract. You can't worry about what Pete Prisco or Tony Boselli or Kai saying on the radio, or you can't worry about, oh gosh, what's on X, because if I don't do X, what if I fall short? What if I don't become a top 5 quarterback in this league? Who cares? Because if you worry about that, you never will. Just go do what you've done your whole life, which is compete your tail off and go play the game of football that you know how to play. And now, yeah, you have a lot more work during the week than I would have because you got to study and you got to know all the formations, you got to know all coverages, you got to know what everyone's doing on the field. I just had to worry about the defensive end. Much easier.
But here's the other thing too, Tony. Once you arrived at your all-pro level, if you made a mistake, it was magnified, but everybody goes, oh, Boselli gave up sack, but here he goes. He's going to go stone the guy for the rest of the game. Whereas Trevor's at the point now, despite the mega contract, where if he makes a mistake, everybody looks at it and says, here we go. He's going to become that guy again.
But
that's the difference.
But this is how you treat it the same way because it's the same thing if you think about it. It's all outside noise. It's all outsiders saying.
Not when it's internal.
Hold on. That's why you can't let it be.
Well, it clearly is now. We both agree on that.
That's my point. I agree with you. You can't allow that. And there were times in my career, like you have a bad game or something, I have to fight it. Like that's not who I am.
By the way, one thing we do, and I touched on it a little bit, development of the player.
It's critical.
He's in the same. We had the excuse it was the urban disaster. Then you get a coach in there. You're in the same system for 3 years, correct?
Yes.
And he's not progressing. That's my concern.
I think maybe some of the outs maybe hurt him too because it kept being, oh, he has a new coach. Oh, it's the second year, and now we're third year, and it's like we're not seeing any markers. He's injured.
He was injured.
And now it's
and then there's this other part of it. Carson Wentz.
Expound on that, Pete.
He got hurt, but he was on his way to being. He was a high draft pick, second overall. He was going to be an MVP. He was in the MVP before he got hurt. He was in the MVP candidate. He was in an MVP run. He came back, and it just fell apart on him. And Doug Peterson was the head coach, and the relationship wasn't great, and it was frayed. And for whatever reason, I don't know the ends of it, but I know that it wasn't warm and fuzzy. And Carson Wentz has never, ever, ever been the same, ever. Now the injury could be a factor in there, and Trevor's been hurt too. But was there development there? No. After the fact, there was not any more development. And that's where I'm concerned about it. That's my concern. You're in an offense for 3 years. You're supposed to have development. There's no development. And it's not just him. There's a lot of guys that don't get better. That's my concern with this team.
We're going to talk more about development coming up. We will keep it real as well here on the second hour of Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
It's not about how you start the job. It's about finishing what you start. The Ford F-150 truck can help. Get the freedom to choose between available gas, PowerBoost Hybrid, or all-electric powertrains, all delivering the power, capability, and efficiency needed to get the job done right. Just another reason why Ford F-Series is the best-selling truck in America 47 straight years. Ford F-150, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Looking for the perfect place to host a business trip, corporate group, or social gathering? Look no further than the award-winning Sheraton Jacksonville Hotel, proudly part of the Marriott family of hotels. Centrally located next to the St. John's Town Center off Gate Parkway in JTB, they offer everything you need, whether you're hosting a meeting or just unwinding with friends at the BC Grill and Patio. Discover comfort and convenience like never before. Search Sheraton Jacksonville or call 904-564-4772 today.
To aim higher, run faster. It's what elite athletes do. Always strive for better. At UF Health, we have that same DNA. To not just treat a stroke, but to create a fleet of mobile stroke treatment units. To not just do research, but to use AI to save lives with one of the most powerful supercomputers in academia. We believe, like athletes, that human progress has no finish line. UF Health, National Medical Center for Team USA.
Hey Jags fans, extreme isn't always about heat, it's about flavor. And 505 knows flavor. So wake up those sleepy taste buds with 505's new lineup of premium craft salsa. Powered by the bud-kicking boldness of fire-roasted Hatch Valley chilies, 505 sauces are more than enough to bulk up any simple spread. Ignite your sense of boldness with 505's all-new assortment of fiercely fiery flavors featuring 505's new black bean and corn craft salsa. And of course, 505's award-winning flagship flavor, Southwestern style.
Jacksonville Builders score big with DL Cabinetry. As the official cabinet supplier of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they offer top quality kitchen and bathroom cabinetry for any project. Enjoy fast turnaround, complimentary design, and great prices. Visit dlcabinetry.com today to learn more and to become a dealer. Limited spots available. DL Cabinetry, the winning choice for builders.
It's easy for us as coaches to criticize the negative. Even as reporters, it's easy to criticize the negative, right? It's hard to find the positive when things are bad. I mean, it's just kind of human nature. I personally try to find the good in everything, because if I don't, then I'm always the Debbie Downer. I'm always the negative one, and I don't want to be the negative one. I will still hold them accountable. I will still hold my coaches accountable. I'll hold myself accountable. But at the same time, I better come Wednesday make them feel like they could run through that wall, right? That's my job. That's part of my job. So I don't necessarily back away. I don't necessarily have to raise my voice and yell and scream. But I think you can get your message across where they understand where you're coming from and what we need to do moving forward.
Head coach Doug Peterson speaking a couple of hours ago today, a different tone than what we heard from him after the game. He's trying to focus on the positives, as he mentioned. Tony, you said a lot of mentality is going out there playing free, not being burdened by the negatives. How's the team going to do that as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to keep it real in a second here. Pete, we talked about Trevor, and I want to tag it with this, and I think this goes for every position. First and foremost, I was not trying to compare left tackle to quarterback, two different positions. But the mentality as a professional sport or athlete and to be great at anything, I think, is consistent. And Pete, you've been around a lot of really high-end professional football players and a lot of high-end quarterbacks. And I'll speak to the quarterbacks. There's something about every good or great quarterback that is common. There's a little bit of, you can kiss it where the sun doesn't shine if you don't like there's a little bit of arrogance.
Correct.
And confidence of no matter what. They just think they're bulletproof.
You kind of need it for that.
And and I think to be good, you need a little bit of that. Of that self-confidence, arrogance, and you almost have to say you know what? I don't really care what you think. I'm good, and I'm going to go execute. And there's a little bit of that swagger, and Trevor needs to find that somewhere. Because I don't think you can play the position. I don't think you play any position, but especially quarterback, unless you have that little bit of you gotta kiss it. Pete, you've been around a lot of them.
Yeah.
And
they walk into the huddle and they say, "It's my damn huddle. Shut the hell up. We're going to do this and we're going to go." And it's the swagger. It's the attitude. It's the I'm it. You're right. It's the it factor. And, it's funny because in the draft process, I've done this for so long, and I always like to watch the tapes of the guys talking at the draft, the combine, and this year I got a chance I watched all the interviews with the guys, and I came away from it, and I had my ideas on who I liked as a player, but I came away from it and I said, Jaden Daniels has it. And you don't know what it is. It's hard to qualify what it is. You just know what it is. You know what I mean? When he walks, you can tell he's the guy, the swagger, the mentality, the belief in himself, the not going to be fazed by the mistakes. And he does have it. And I think Trevor's looking for it. Now, you can't manufacture it. Success will help it.
Yeah, confidence helps it. And I think a little bit of it is also, Pete, is you know, and I'm not a quarterback expert as far as technique and mechanics and everything else. But my recommendation to him is like, go work on your mechanics on the field in practice. Like, go do rep it, get confident. And then when you go out there, just go play. Just be that dude who just shows up, gets in the hole, tells everyone to shut up, get to the line of scrimmage, call the play, and go make it. Just go, and like if it doesn't work out, get them all back up, tell them to shut up again, get in the huddle, and go do it again.
By the way, a couple other quick things on Trevor. Everybody in the entire NFL would have drafted him first overall. So let's not criticize him for that. And B, I was one of the biggest believers in him. I thought he would be the MVP a year ago. I thought he would throw 35 touchdowns last year. I thought he would throw 30-something this year. So I still think it's there. I just think right now he's going through something, and he's got to get out of it. And they have to help him get out of it. They haven't developed him, and so they have to help him get out of it.
All right, guys, you guys always keep it real, but we're going to keep it real specifically. Switch to the defensive side of the ball. We touched on it a little bit earlier. The defense has been playing better at times so far, but now Josh Hines-Allen in the concussion protocol. The pass rush has not been there a ton. Without Josh Hines-Allen, the concerns going forward, Pete, what do they kind of do with that group right now if Josh can't go?
Well, they have to find somebody. I mean, they have to go looking around for somebody, because if he can't go, what ends do they have? They have none. They have Trayvon Walker, who I still think would be a great down player on the inside, and not really. I mean, he's been good as an end, but I think he could be a great 3 technique. They have Armstead, who is a 3 technique, masquerading as an end. Roy Robertson Harris is now masquerading as an end. They got to manufacture stuff. And so I think that's a problem if he can't play, a big problem. And it compounded by the fact that, think about that. If he can't play this week, your mega defensive end, who's been good, hadn't been great, your mega paid corner hadn't played, and your mega paid quarterback isn't playing very well. That ain't a good look for the organization. So I think if he doesn't go, they have major problems. And me and Tony have talked about that. They don't have ends. There's no ends on the roster.
Yeah, I don't understand the decision process from camp to cuts to the building of this roster of what they were doing on defense in the front, the defensive line. Like the eight defense tackles, 3 true ends, one's a 7th-round rookie. I don't have an answer for it. I don't understand it. But one of the bigger issues also in this defense, everyone says, well, the defense is not giving a bunch of points except for Buffalo, playing better, and okay, but they also can't get off the field.
Yeah, time of possession for the other teams.
I mean, so like I was just looking it up. So time of possession this year, Miami had over 33 minutes. Cleveland had over 34, and that's one of the worst offenses in the history of mankind. Buffalo had over 31, and the only reason they had more because in the second half they gave up and started playing backups. And the Texans had over 33. Like, we're not on the field. And that the defense creates no turnovers because they don't get any pressure.
They have none, right?
None.
Still, yep, only special teams turnover.
Special teams got them off, punt. And they don't get off the field. And so where does the pass rush come from without Josh? I don't know. Ryan Nielsen does not like the blitz very much, but he might have to dial up the blitz.
Is that something they can look into, though? Because, I mean, we saw them. They didn't want to do much zone. We saw them change a little bit last week.
They can't. They can't run with the guys.
They can't. They don't have any. You want to play man-to-man cover?
You got to rush.
You got to be able to run a little bit,
and you got to rush the passer. You got to get to the quarterback. Right. You're going to play man-to-man because you only can run for so long.
But okay, even in some scenario, in an emergency scenario, maybe you could play Devin Lloyd as he's rushed some as an end in his career. In college, he did it, but he's not an end. It's just an emergency type. But he's not even healthy now, anyways.
I don't know. There's no simple answer to this because with Josh healthy, they're not getting a ton of pressure because no one's really winning inside. Roy had one good on the stunt, so maybe they can do more stunts, more TEs, ETs, 3-man games.
They don't do a lot of that either.
No, that's what I'm saying. Maybe you dial that up some more. But
and a lot of teams, you watch tape, Tony, around the league, teams do that, and that's how they get home. Jacksonville doesn't do it.
Well, if you watch, I thought we'd run a ton of games this week. Yeah. Because if you watch the Vikings on tape against the Texans, they were absolutely killing that offensive line, and the offensive line of the Texans is not great. They don't do a good job in games, and they ran a bunch of 3-man games, Pete, like TTEs, and they were just gashing the Texans, getting all over C.J. Stroud.
But here's the other side of it. There are certain teams like the Vikings or the 49ers where you can go get an end off a scrap heap and put them in their defense, and suddenly they become good rushers. Like, I'll give you an example. The kid Patrick Jones from Pittsburgh is a decent player from, plays for the Vikings. In that defense, the way they attack and come after you and everything, he's getting to the quarterback.
Well, they run a lot of games. They get on the edge, and then you get confidence. You start getting going. You get the offensive line.
Do you have belief that these four can win one-on-one when you put them in a 4-man front?
No, I don't.
So they got to do something.
So I think dial up the games. You're going to have to dial up a bunch of games, or you're going to have to blitz more. Because I've seen zero evidence that, especially with no Josh in there, that they can just rush for and win one-on-one battles. I have not seen it.
I will say one thing that a little bit flashes. I thought Mason Smith flashed a couple plays yesterday.
Okay.
Did you in the run game?
In the run game,
I
thought
play.
he had a couple good jobs. On
there was
the
a little push. There was a push on one play where he looked like and then he's working against a bad guard.
Yeah, the run game, yes.
But I think he's got a chance to be a good player.
I mean, do we have the pressure stats? How many pressures did we even have yesterday? I didn't look. We had 1 sack. I know that. Forced some holds, so that was good.
I think they gave Ledbetter a sack too because it was 1 yard behind
right.
scrimmage.
Yeah, that's
so we had
right.
2 sacks.
2 sacks.
But even on that Ledbetter sack, I think that was Mason Smith who pushed the pocket on that.
I think it was. It was like a group effort because there's 3 of them, and then Roy got the sack on it.
And he kind of come up the field a little bit. But again, there's a guy who's young, at least play. I mean, what you have in the other guys. Tony, if they don't have Josh Hines Allen this week, what do they do?
I got no answer for you.
I'm going to hope Josh is better by then.
So Armstead will start at defensive end. His
who else is going to start? You're not going to start the rookie. The rookie hasn't even been active. That's why I go back to training camp. I don't understand why they traded Gibson.
But isn't that amazing though? By the way, Kayvon Chason had 2 pressures yesterday, I think, for the Raiders.
That's just salt in the wound, Pete.
Did he
that
really?
was rude.
I think so.
All right, guys, we're going to hit the break now.
I got more. Jay Tufele started for the Bengals at defensive tackle. Quincy Williams was all over the field.
Pete, we're 0-4. Stop this. All right, when we return, we're going to do Fanatics fan questions. I picked them out for you guys. Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings. We'll be right back.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Brooks Rehabilitation is proud to be the official rehabilitation partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are here for them, and we are here for you. Ranked #1 physical rehabilitation hospital in Florida by U.S. News and World Report, our playbook is individualized treatment and exceptional care to get you back to living your life. Brooks has cutting-edge technology and therapy solutions in every care setting, treating sports injury, orthopedics, brain, spinal injuries, and more. Go beyond your expectations with Brooks Rehabilitation.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jacksonville Builders score big with DL Cabinetry. As the official cabinet supplier of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they offer top-quality kitchen and bathroom cabinetry for any project. Enjoy fast turnaround, complimentary design, and great prices. Visit dlcabinetry.com today to learn more and to become a dealer. Limited spots available. DL Cabinetry, the winning choice for builders.
Hey, Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with Zip Chair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high-quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a Zip Chair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back into Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings. It's time for the Fanatic fan questions. There were a lot of them, as you can imagine. Haven't heard from you guys in a couple of weeks, so there's a lot of questions. I tried to pick ones, the PG ones for you guys. Jaguars fans, you can gear up at Fanatics.com with all the latest Jag styles. Shop now. Get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything. Now, some of these we already talked about, so I'm going to skip ahead, but we did touch on this. Why didn't the coaching staff take Tank out of the game after the big run? I heard Fred Taylor kind of weighing it on the postgame show. Tony,
what did Freddie say? Because he's the expert.
Fred said, if you run 60 yards, I'm going to be tired. And I thought he was going to say he'd want to stay in, but he said he would understand if you subbed someone out. I think probably because he was that guy getting after MJD ran, and then he'd get the 1-yard touchdown probably.
Yeah, but
sometime.
also I think, because I remember when Fred was younger and he got mad whenever they took him out of goal line because they just put James Stewart in. I think Fred would have been saying, waving off, stay out of here. This is my touchdown. So I'm gonna talk to Freddie this weekend, alumni weekend, saying, Fred, there's no chance if you were given a choice you were coming out.
Given a choice,
he would
absolutely
not. He's still angry about it, and truth be known, him coming out on the goal line probably cost him a chance to be in the Hall of Fame.
You don't think he gets in this year, Pete? No chance?
I hope he does. I've tried banging on these guys just like I did for you, and I'm getting a lot of pushback.
Really?
Yeah, well, you got the New York people that always push Tiki, so there's a whole block that pushes back on it.
Yeah, but if you look at total yards and yards per carry, it's not even.
Well, not just that. Here's how you can get the ultimate answer. Go ask Tom Coughlin; he'll tell you who's better.
That's a good.
Absolutely. Special day this Sunday too.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that as well coming up. All right. Doug says things like everything's on the table, but did you see any appreciable changes from week 3 to week 4, Tony?
They ran the ball. They had a concerted effort to run the ball.
More than they have, you think?
Yeah, more than they have. I'd have to go look at the exact attempts compared to passing attempts. No. I mean, they ran more zone on defense, just game plan stuff, but same people, maybe a little bit more Tank earlier than we'd seen in the past. Maybe that was because of the injury.
But they are starting to
couple deep shots.
Get Brian Thomas and some
a couple deep shots,
middle range crossers and stuff. So I think that's good.
Yeah.
Is it a fine line coaching because you want to change things? Obviously, you're not winning, but not completely switch up to the point where maybe players don't think you know what you're doing.
Well, I think Doug said something that I agree with a lot. It's easy to be negative, and if you just read the X, and I know we're not going to get him. I mean, everyone got fired today on X.
Yeah, we're all fired.
Doug got fired. Trevor, Press, Trent. Shad got fired. I don't even know how you fire the owner. I mean, you can't do that. But everyone got fired. And that's what happens when you're losing. And that's what happens because it's so easy to be negative. And as a coach, you got to look at it and say, okay, let me take a step back. If I just go in and make wholesale changes, I'm going to lose any credibility. I mean, what if people are like think I'm crazy? And I can't remember who said this, but Pete, you'll remember. But as soon as you start listening to the fans, you might as well go sit with the fans. Or there's some quote like that. It's like, that's where you're going to be. I think John Madden said it. And not that the fans, aren't. We have very smart fans, but they're passionate. And when you lose,
And they're justified in what.
Yeah, I'm not. They're good questions, but when we're winning, everything's perfect. Everyone's a superstar. Like
you can mask a lot of things when you win.
Yeah, you have these extremes, and the job of a coach and a leader is to be able to step back when it's bad. Okay, where are the slight adjustments? How can I put people in better positions? What can we give success? And just as important, maybe more important, when you're winning, hey, let's not get too full of ourselves. Like, here's some mistakes. This is where we need to get better. And so I don't think wholesale changes is the right thing in the season. You make those wholesale changes in the offseason. In training camp, you work on things. You find out what you're good at. You find out your
if they keep going in this direction, they'll be making wholesale changes after the season.
That's why I said that's when you make those changes, Pete, in the offseason.
By the way, real quickly, the owner saying what he said before the season about this being the most talented team, that puts a bullseye on the coaching staff, and it kind of takes the GM off the hook a little bit. But now as we look at it, I think they're both in trouble. But, I mean, him saying that, that's where the fans' wrath is coming from.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, and I had a conversation this weekend about this, because a lot has been made about that, and people on X have said, about the teams I played on, and Seth Payne had something funny, on there this weekend. I think what Shad was referring to is the best team since he's been the owner. I don't think
it isn't even that.
I'm not saying I agree with him. I'm just saying, to be fair though to Shad, I don't think Shad was saying back to 1995. I mean, Shad would have
he can't reference those teams.
He would have no context. I mean, my guess is he wasn't a Jaguar fan, in living in Illinois. Or Chicago, and back and forth.
Even the best team that he's had since he's been here.
That's what he was saying is the best team since he's been here. Now, I could argue the 17 team was better, just because that defense had. I mean, Calais Campbell's probably a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. Jalen Ramsey is one of the best corners in football. You set sack records and turnovers and everything else. So, I would probably disagree with him, but it's not an outrageous statement.
And it's a motivator. He goes in there. He's trying to use that as a motivation point.
But all it does is it sets him up, though. It sets him up. Now the coach is on the hot seat. If he wasn't on the hot seat, his seat is searing right now. And here's the other part of it. You're talking about the fans, Kai. Mm-hmm. Here's the fans. They thought that quarterback cured all their misery for the next decade and a half. And here you are 3 years into it, and you're still the same miserable fan base. That's where their agony is.
4 years. 4 years.
But that's where your agony is. That's where it's well, it's not quite 4. It's the 4th year. But this is where your agony is coming from. That's why they're as angry, and they have a right to be.
Now, I would not have said the statement. I don't think it was, because I don't think there's any upside for Shad to say it.
Yeah.
Because what's the upside? If you win,
even if you prove the point, it's like, I said it first.
Yeah, I said, whatever. Who cares? So I'm not, whether he should have said it or not. I'm not a communications expert. It's not my, lane to work in. But I do think it's fair, because I've seen enough on X now that he was not referring to the history of the franchise. I think he's referring.
No, you're right. Not the history. He doesn't know the history. But even doing that, you know what that does? And you've been around the NFL a long time. It causes a split that's naturally there anyways between front office and coach. If the team is that talented and they're not winning, well, that's the coach's fault. If you don't understand what I'm saying,
well, Pete, I understand. But
the egos are gigantic in this business.
They are, but I'll say this. And I'm not even speak. I'm not. So this next comment, I'm taking the Jaguars organization out of the picture. This is a general NFL. Pete, my experience is the teams that have success, the GM and the head coach are on the same page.
Correct.
It's the teams that don't.
Correct.
Where they're on where they're pointing fingers and they're divided.
Correct.
Because I'm a firm believer. The coach's job. I'm not speaking about Jackson. I'm just saying general NFL. It's the coaching staff to say, this is the type of team, this is the type of offense, the type of defense we want to play. These are the type of players that we need to be successful. Their job is to coach and develop those players. and to communicate to the front office is this is the style of football we want to play. And so we need these type of players, this body type, this, offensive line like this, D-line like this, corners, whatever it is. And then it's the front office, the GM's job and the scouts is to go get the type of players, the most talented players that fit that makeup that the coaching staff has described based on the style of football they want to play, and then they go deliver those players.
Okay, do you think it's
and that's how I think
fuzzy?
a functional.
No, I'm going to ask this question because I don't think it is. I'll be the first one to say it.
You don't think that's you don't think that's how you do it, Pete?
No, that's exactly how you do it.
Sorry.
But I don't think they're warm and fuzzy together in that building.
I am not privy. I'm not here enough. I'm not in the meetings. I have never once.
You hear things.
Pete, I have never once sat in the same room and had a conversation with Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke. So I am not going to weigh in on rumors and things that I might hear.
Well,
you can though. But Pete, in fairness, you have a better ear around the league of what is said.
And yes, and from what you hear, it's not warm and it's not warm and fuzzy. It's not that they're at each other's throat, but when things start going bad, people blame each other. They look to blame somebody else.
Not in a healthy organization, they don't, Pete. That's the problem. You can't do that.
I'm going to give you an example. Rick Spielman works with me, and Rick was the longtime GM of the Vikings, and Mike Zimmer was his longtime coach. A couple weeks ago, Mike Zimmer came out, and Mike Zimmer always wanted a certain style player. He wanted this player. He'd give him that player. If he didn't make it, he blamed the GM. And Mike Zimmer came out and ripped Rick Spielman publicly for some of the draft picks that he had. So that was simmering the entire time he was there. There's always going to be, and you're right, though, the good organizations don't let the ego get in the way. But you know how this is. When a GM picks a player, if the player doesn't develop, he blames the coach. If the GM picks a player and the player doesn't develop, the coach says the player wasn't good enough. And next thing you know, you got the two egos bouncing their heads against each other and getting into it. You don't give me enough players, you don't coach them well enough.
No, you're right, Pete, but you can't allow that.
No, but you know what they all need to do, Tony? They all need to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm making $6-7 million a year. A, being the general manager. B, coaching football. We shouldn't allow our egos to get in the way of this thing. Let's work together.
And the successful organizations and the right leaders don't. Because at the end of the day, the way a functional team, an organization, this is for business, football, I don't care what it is, you're all in it together. Guess what? If we pick this guy, we're all stacking hands, we picked him together. Yep, it's your job to develop. It's not my job to coach if I'm the GM. And if I'm the coach, my job is to describe it. And yep, okay, good. We're on the same page. Let's go. And if it doesn't work, you both look at each other like, well, we missed on that one. Let's move on. Let's keep going. And you know what? If it doesn't work ultimately, you're in it together. You get fired together. You win together.
Well, you get fired together unless one takes the other one out first.
Well, that's the problem, Pete. And what you've described, and again, I'm taking this organization off the table. What you've described is a plague in this league of why teams do not have success.
And we see a lot of turnover in both those positions because of what
I'll
you're describing.
ask you a question, Pete. The Baltimore Ravens have been pretty successful for a long time, consistently.
Correct.
You ever heard of anyone pointing fingers up there?
No, because DaCosta and before him, Ozzie Newsome get along with the coaches.
How about in Pittsburgh?
How about Kansas City?
Kansas City, hear anything?
No.
Pittsburgh?
No.
San Francisco?
Well, Pittsburgh doesn't really have a general manager.
No, you hear anything out of San Francisco?
No, because they get along. Well, they disagree sometimes, but they do get along.
But
You're right.
That's fine. They disagree. I'll give you a perfect example. San Francisco is a great example. They picked Trey Lance 3rd overall. He was a bust. They traded him 2 years later.
And they came out of it.
And you didn't hear one thing out of that organization of Lynch blaming Kyle or Kyle blaming Lynch. Now, it helped that they've got got the 7th round.
They're doing all right after that, yeah.
They got the lottery ticket with the last pick.
I mean, that helps. But my point is, successful organizations, football teams, businesses, families, I don't care what it is. If you're not all in it together, working for the same goal, understanding what your role is in that organization, then you're not going to have success long term. Because Pete's right, the egos. It's all about me. What's in it for me? Me, the culture of me. And you can't have that if you want to be successful. You just can't.
Well, there's a history.
Team sport, guys. We got to do this all together. That was your Jaguars fan questions. I'm sure you guys got a lot of answers out of all that. Stay with us here on Jags Happy Hour, presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Navigating the current housing market and figuring out your best move when it comes to a mortgage isn't your full-time job, but it's one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. That's where the experts at Jet Home Loans get into the game and coach you to your ultimate goal of getting not just the right loan, but the perfect loan for you, the home of your dreams. Jet Home Loans works with you all the way, from application to closing, making sure your game plan is perfect. Make the call to Jet Home Loans and let their team join your team to make your dreams take flight. Visit jethl.com.
Are you ready to love how you feel, look, and live in every season? At Elace, we offer more than just luxury med spa treatments. We provide a serene, judgment-free space where you can reconnect with the best version of you. Whether you want to refresh your natural look with Botox or Dysport, pamper yourself with a relaxing hydrofacial, or rejuvenate your complexion with laser resurfacing, our expert team in Jacksonville is here to tailor treatments to your needs. Visit Elace.com today and start your journey to loving yourself.
You love free, and at Ameris Bank, so do we. That's why we're proud to offer worry-free, hassle-free Ameris Bank free checking. Manage your money your way with convenient access to digital, mobile, and telephone banking, all with no monthly service fee or minimum balance requirements. At Ameris Bank, we're with you. For more information or to open an account, visit our local bankers in person or online at amerisbank.com/free checking. Other fees such as overdraft fees may apply. Ameris Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
For us, treating cancer is personal. We're Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center, and we know that every patient is unique. So you'll have a plan created by world-renowned doctors and tailored to your needs. And everyone here will support you every step of the way, so you're physically, emotionally, and spiritually strong for the journey. Don't face cancer with anything less than the team at Baptist MD Anderson. Locations in downtown, Baptist South, and Clay. Visit BaptistMDAnderson.com.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more, or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Welcome back to the Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings from the Hyundai Studios, also brought to you by Dreamfinders Homes. They've been proud to call themselves the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You can visit dreamfindershomes.com for all of the available inventory. Go Jags. All right, Jags still looking for their first win. Let's look around the NFL as well. Cowboys and Giants on Thursday, your typical Thursday night game, not good there. Bengals were winless, but they got a win over the Panthers this week. Pete, any games that stood out to you on Sunday? I'll go through some of these scores, but anyone that you were watching?
Yeah, well, I mean, we watched them all. We sit in the screen room, but one of the games that the Colts won a game with Joe Flacco coming off the bench, and I know Jacksonville plays them this week.
Yeah, that hurts.
Yeah, Jacksonville has a history of beating the Colts up in Jacksonville. But would you rather play Joe Flacco or Anthony Richardson?
It's so funny you bring that up, because Kai and I talked about it. We talked about it on the bus last night when we heard. I'd rather play Anthony Richardson.
Absolutely.
Of course you would. And by the way, the receivers look so happy on Sunday. I mean, look, Anthony Richardson's a kid. He could develop, but he's not. He's completing under 50% of his passes. And Joe Flacco goes in there, and Michael Pittman goes for over 100. He was happy. So, yeah, you'd rather play Anthony Richardson than Joe Flacco.
Who do you think they play this week?
Well, they say his hip pointer's not that bad, so we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see if it flares up later in the week.
Well, that's one thing that if they do start Anthony Richardson, you want to tackle him like gently, so he stays
Very
in.
nice. Yes, just lay him down.
Well, you remember it was a number of years ago, Pete. I can't remember. You probably don't remember this. We're playing the Titans, and Mariota had gotten demoted to the backup, and I can't remember who the starter was, but we knocked him out early in the game. And then Mariota came in and just ran all over us and rushed, and they ended up beating us because of Mariota. I'm like, golly, I wish you would have stayed.
Flacco came in and really did some good things.
He's a good quarterback. Really Flacco knows how to win. He's won a Super Bowl.
He burned us last year as well.
I think Baltimore got right last night, too. That was impressive.
Also getting
King Henry. How about that guy?
Well, we looked like on Monday Night Football, and then the Bills go to Baltimore, and you see that.
Well, we don't have to play Baltimore.
You know what, though? It's also the NFL.
It is.
It's a lot of parity
for the Bills. It's a short week for the Bills out on the road against a team that's back
desperate
home. So yeah, it's tough.
And they had to win.
Yeah.
Week to week. How about that Broncos Jets? Did you watch that, Pete?
Yeah, it rained, but the Jets have problems. You talk about the Texans with their mistakes. The Jets make tons of mistakes, tons of them.
And internally, Aaron Rodgers and Saleh.
What's that?
What's with Aaron Rodgers and Robert Saleh, Pete?
Yeah, I think that's a little frosty.
A little bit. I saw after the pushed hug, I was like, I know there's something going on.
Yeah, Robert, he was in Jacksonville.
Yeah,
you know that.
I know Robert well.
Robert pays attention to too much of the outside noise, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He listens. He's got to put that away.
Pete, Commanders 42-14 over the Cardinals.
The kid's the real deal. I mean, he is it. He is it. I say this all the time when I talk about him, too. He went to Arizona State. He wasn't very good as a freshman. He's the most improved player I've ever seen in my life. And I mean that. And he works, supposedly, Tony, he's the first one in and the last one out. Loves it, lives it, and has the swagger. It's exactly what you want in a quarterback.
So he only spent 1 year at LSU, right, Pete? His last year?
Yes.
Well, how could you guys not win with him?
I think it was 2. And you know who else was on that team at one point?
Who?
Ricky Pearsall, Brandon Ayuk,
how are you guys not good?
Rashad White. Herm was coaching them. And they never have offensive linemen. You know that. You've been around. You played against. They never have big physical offensive linemen.
Goes back to my point. You build the team inside out. Once you have a quarterback, inside out.
Pete,
correct.
Bears got their first win too. Caleb Williams, how did he look to you?
No, they got their second win. Second win.
He's getting better. The Rams are so undermanned, though. I mean, they didn't, for all the talk of how great he was on Sunday, they didn't put up a lot of points, though, against the Rams team that came in giving up more 20-plus pass plays than any team in the league because they're so banged up on defense. By the way, the 2 Florida State kids on the Rams, they're going to be really good. Both Fisk and Verse are going to be really good players.
That Bears defense is pretty good, too, isn't it, Pete?
Really good.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough game in
London.
Yeah, in London.
Absolutely. Do the Titans get their first win tonight? Anybody? Any takers?
I think the Titans win. I think the Titans win.
Do you really?
Tyler Huntley starting for the Dolphins.
Yeah, I just don't think Tyler Huntley's it. I just don't.
It's not the answer.
I'll take his bad. Levis has actually played pretty good except for his dumb mistakes. If he doesn't make a dumb mistake, he's going to play well. And remember, he beat them last year in Miami.
Well, Kai, are you going to try a shot at the Monday Night Intro like JP does? Yeah, take a shot.
Okay.
Go for it.
Monday Night Football. We have a doubleheader coming your way. We start out in South Florida with 2 teams desperate for a win. Tyler Huntley starting for the Dolphins, and the Titans the only other winless team in football. Kickoff at 7:35. The late game, head north to the Motor City as the undefeated Seahawks head to town, looking for an upset over the Lions. Who you got?
I love it. Well done, Kai. Well done. I'm going Lions over Seahawks. And I'm going to go with Pete with the Titans. I think the Dolphins have issues across the board.
Well, yeah, they should have lost to the Jaguars. That tells you all the issues they have. I'll take the Titans, and I'm going to take the Lions as well. I think the Lions – look, the Seahawks are 3-0. They beat Bo Nix in his first start at home. They beat Tuala's Dolphins last week, and they beat the Patriots on the road. That's their 3 wins.
Yeah,
So,
I actually think the Lions hang a pretty good number on them.
All right, we do want to quickly mention special game this week with
Big
the Colts.
weekend, yeah. Alumni weekend. All the guys will be back. It would be a lot of fun to see everybody. But most importantly, we are honoring and putting the architect of this franchise from the beginning and the head coach of the original team, Tom Coughlin, 2-time Super Bowl champ, and one of the greatest coaches to ever play walk the sidelines, will be in the Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Fame one day.
Yes.
And looking forward to seeing his name up on the stadium.
That ceremony is going to be at halftime.
It's going to be a big moment.
It's
And
gonna be
one
awesome.
last thing before we go. JP who? That's all I have to say.
Let's go.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen. Kainani Stevens filling in for JP Shadrick, Tony Boselli, Pete Prisco, everyone behind the scenes. Loving it on Happy Hour. We'll see you next week.